talk. Do you want to start? Yeah, I think we should probably. As I'm thinking the way we plot the show, we should probably start with U.S. soccer men's drama, and then we'll go into MLS dream signings for every MLS team.
Yay, nonsense, my specialty.
Yeah. So as everyone knows, there was a lot of drama this past few days. A couple of dogs got loose, and now the question was who let the dogs out. And finally, we found out who. There was a lot of dogs let out for U.S. men's national team over the past few months, and the question was who let those dogs out as they're running across into the field chasing some neighbor's cat and a couple of squirrels. Then there was another incident where the dogs got out again, and once again, U.S. Twitter was asking, "Hey, who let the dogs out?" As they ran across the beach, ran into the water, grabbed a fish, and pulled it back to shore. We were stunned. We couldn't believe it. Then, once again, dogs out, and we're asking, who let the dogs out? So I ask you now, can you sum up what happened over these past few months in a quick nutshell for the people's FC Tokyo about this incident?
No. No,
it's going to take a Netflix series.
Well, I mean, how much consternation was there about Gio Reyna's playing time, right? And you know what I saw? So there's the real stuff about this that's not fun. There's the conspiracy type stuff that is fun.
Right.
And then I saw the one thing that I would consider Q level conspiracy nonsense, which was somebody was like, Berhalter's son got cut from Austin FC not too long ago or whatever. It was either his son or his brother. I don't know which one, but it was like this person got fired by Austin FC. So Gio Reyna's playing time was a retaliation for that, which I could not believe if that's anywhere near the truth, we're all doomed. But in all seriousness, man, like this, well, I'll just say what happened, and then we'll talk about kind of the very nuanced approach to talking about this.
Yes, because we're all chuckle fuckeries, but at the same time, there's deeper issues as I mentioned earlier. But at the same time, like you said, there's going to take a bit of a delicate hand, but also there's time has also had its effect in this as well. So
yeah, definitely. The circumstance is much different.
Right.
When we say time, even if we were to talk 5 years, we're talking a whole different story. But again, I'll backtrack. So, unbeknownst to the public or anyone,
so back at the World Cup, Gio Reyna sat at the consternation erupts with U.S. Twitter. U.S. is like, how is Gio Reyna not playing? He's been playing for Borussia. We know he was injured, but Borussia's playing him. Why is he not playing for us when he's one of our best players amongst with Pulisic? And everybody, and then people start saying, mumbling, grumbling. They're saying, "Oh, Triple G, Greg Berhalter's got it out for Reyna, but they're best friends. But he's best friends with his dad. Their wives are best friends. But why isn't he playing him? And why? Gio's hurt. So that comes from Greg Berhalter. Gio's like,
I think he was doing him a solid there. If Gio was just like, yeah, I wasn't feeling 100%, boom. Not a single conversation.
Right. So let's pick that first one out. That's one of the first. Bam. That's one of the first public bam that we're seeing, because we already know that there's an issue. Oh, why? He doesn't seem to be a part of the plan. But when we're asking why, and then we see that. That's our first big red flag.
Yeah, that's a red flag. And then I don't hate the guy, but if Eric Winalda's around, shit's off the rails.
I love Eric. But Eric's in the know. And also
Eric, that's just, I know in this specific instance it's true, but boy, just to think Eric Winalda is in the know as just a standalone statement makes me laugh. I'm sorry.
When it comes to the U.S. men's national team stuff, dude knows.
I guess you're right.
I just know in my interactions with Piotr. I just know through my interactions with Piotr and vicariously some of his interactions with Eric that he spoke with me in private about, and just to see what Piotr was doing, to know what that Eric was similar, and also thought similar in certain ways and all of this. It made me, so that's why I'm like, dude, these guys all talk so much more than we realize. They all text, they have each other's numbers, they talk to each other every once in a while, and they'll just call each other up to talk or something like that. Like, they really do, a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're finally seeing a point in the sport where, like, guys we grew up watching and like really got into it with, now all either have like serious jobs where they're interviewed or have podcasts. And so we're getting a lot of fun stories and not so fun stories.
Absolutely.
So okay, just to lay it out, everybody's freaking out that
So
Reyna
everybody's
didn't
freaking
play
out,
very much.
and now
then-
Greg Berhalter comes out and says, "Oh, he's just recovering."
Right,
And Gio says, fuck that. He doesn't see it as covering for him. He sees it as a slight on him.
yeah, which just is the 20-year-old way of looking at it. Like, come on, he's a kid, and then, fast forward to the end of the World Cup, Reyna didn't get a lot of playing time. Then there's all these reports of he sold somebody that he wasn't going to get playing time. Then Berhalter goes to an event and speaks about his leadership without naming names, but very much is talking about Gio Reyna. And of course that shit gets out. He thought it was off the record. And then Gio Reyna replies with a very good statement, I think. He was like, yeah, man, I really did kind of mess up. I thought I'd apologized and gotten enough out of the doghouse to play, but whatever, I'm moving forward. And so we all think it's dead at this point. Now we're all just like rubbing our hands if Berhalter gets extended.
So this is after Berhalter's already kind of outed Gio.
Right, because remember the next day
at that press conference.
Yep.
So that same day of that off the record press conference that wasn't so off the record turned out to be, apparently within a day or so of that happening, the Reynas came forward to U.S. Soccer, I believe Ernie Stewart, and told them about these allegations about when Greg Berhalter was 18 years old, that he kicked his wife in the shins outside of a bar.
Girlfriend at the time.
His girlfriend at the time. I apologize. His girlfriend at the time kicked her in the shins, got out of line. Absolutely just admits he got out of line. Kicked her in the shins. They got into a fight. They broke up. For 7 months. He went to counseling. He did various things. He spoke with her family. He spoke with her friends. They spoke with each other's friends. They had the relationship was closed. And then 7 months later, somehow the relationship was reopened again. And now 30 years later, they're husband and wife. And
with 4 children.
Also, to color that, Greg Berhalter's, one of his childhood friends that he grew up with playing soccer with, was Reyna. What was Gio Reyna's dad, Claudio Reyna. Ever since they were 13 years old, they grew up in New Jersey together playing soccer all the way up into the U.S. men's national team. In addition to that, their wives were roommates, college roommates.
Division I soccer players, roommates.
So the family is very close, or the families were very close. And it seems that soccer and politics and I don't know, it's gotten in the way of that. And also I saw some tweets saying, this is a perfect illustration of soccer in America, because you have the parents trying to coach the team.
Dude, I literally was opening Twitter while you were speaking to find that tweet. I saw that same thing, man. It's just the perfect representation of like youth soccer in America, just soccer in America in general. But dude, what a situation here, because I think I'm just going to say it now. And even with my own reasoning, I'm just going to say it. Gary Halter is getting let off the hook to an extent because of time. And then also because of just the timing, the way that this is coming out. You know, the Reynas did this because they were pissed off. They're trying to quote unquote cancel him, which, you know, I'm just going to lay this out on the line right now. Not against quote unquote cancel culture. Like, I really hate how people rail against things like political correctness or cancel culture or I can't even think of the wokeism, right? But you know what all those words are? Just just replacements for the word respect. That's what it's supposed to be. And so, quote unquote, cancel culture is supposed to be accountability. Now, with that said, if we're talking 5 years ago, yeah, let's investigate and see if this motherfucker is still doing some of this shit. If it's, you know what I mean? But we're talking 30 years ago, they actually broke up. They actually got back together. And unless this investigation slash she were ever comfortable enough to come forward, as long as this shit doesn't keep happening, then it was completely out of his character. He has proven that it was out of character. The person who is the only person in this entire situation, despite everybody acting like one, who's a victim. Is Berhalter's current wife and then girlfriend,
who's getting dumped into this by the Reynas, but dragging into
it wasn't
laundry.
really it wasn't their story to share, but you don't always want to say that because there are times you need to save people.
Right. Well, and apparently this is the case, is that Danielle Reyna was talking to Ernie Stewart in confidence. This was not supposed to get out. This what we're talking about right now, and that she was saying it in response to Greg is saying that, hey, look at what this 19-year-old did, acting out of line, and he's like, well, Greg did this at 18. He was an idiot, and look where he's now. I think it sounds like she tried to say it, or she tries to claim that she brought it up like that later. There's a whole bunch of backtracking, finger pointing going on right now between the Reynas and the Berhalters in U.S. soccer, and it's kind of sad. I really hope that they can figure this out. It might need a couple days to a couple weeks. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll definitely need more time for this all to come out, but yeah. Let's be honest, dude. No one is talking about the elephant in the room, which is U.S. soccer's handling of abuse in the women's game for God knows how long, and how soon it's been since a lot of things have come to light.
Well, you were talking about canceling right there, and you know this actually apparently has allegedly affected his job. He was apparently going to be retained. It was rumored that he was going to be retained, and then this came out, and U.S. Soccer broke off all conversations about going forward. And after this came out, December 11th or December 13th, somewhere in that time frame, is when apparently the Reynas brought this to the attention of U.S. Soccer.
Well, and that's where I feel comfortable enough saying two things. You know what? Have a little investigation. And I'm not trying to downplay any of this. I'll say this: have an investigation and make sure that that's not a pattern of behavior that this woman has been in terror for 30 years. Okay, let's just make sure. Doesn't seem that way, but you know what? We don't know a lot of shit about these people. So
meanwhile, Jay Berhalter, is one of the guys that hired this guy. You'd think Jay would see some things or hear some things or know some things. Unless we got like a Breaking Bad situation going on.
Right.
Super secret lives.
But what I'm saying, exactly. So what I'm saying is investigate and make sure that it's not a situation where a woman has been in terror or terrorized and, Stockholm syndromed in a relationship. Okay. And if that's the case, then it's very easy to say, you know what, that was a mistake an 18-year-old made, and not within their character, and something that they use to grow and get better. Like, let's be honest, dude. I've cheated on plenty of girlfriends. I've been a dickhead. I've gotten into car accidents. I've done a lot of things that get you in trouble, but as long as, there are some lessons that you learn by ruining your entire life. There's other lessons you learn and you get better.
Potentially ruining your entire life.
Yeah, exactly. So there are things you can do that are bad enough to not come back from, even if it's been 30 years. But again, if it's been proven in the person that he's with, and that the person that this happened to says, well, I now know this person for 30 years. We've been together dating and married, and I love them. And this was completely out of character. And it was a singular incident that did not repeat. Then you know what? That's just what it was. Then we just leave it in the past. There's no need for him to lose his job now in life. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. It's not like, and again, I'm saying it differently if it's just was 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Then you're looking at somebody like, "You're this old kinda doing that?" Like, there's probably a pattern, so then you do make more rash decisions. But
Also,
based
apparently, it did come up in the small amount of investigating that they did do since then that he did supposedly abuse other members of staff. In what ways we do not know, but that was
Oh,
said.
shit, I did not hear that.
That was said by
Or
U.S. Soccer. I'll go to. We shall go to the U.S. Soccer.
they said that? I did
Yep.
not hear that.
Yes, we shall. We shall go to U.S.
Oh my
Soccer.
god.
And it wasn't like abuse. I don't know. Maybe I used the wrong term, and maybe I should use the right term. So let's give me a second here to find this U.S.
Well, also,
Soccer.
let's not, he can be an asshole too. Like, let's not confuse the two things between being a very bad person and just an asshole.
Upon learning
You know
of the
what I mean?
allegations against U.S. men's national team head coach Greg Berhalter on December 11th, U.S. Soccer immediately hired Alston and Bird to conduct the independent investigation. So, by the way, chat was saying, we don't need to put the wife through the ringer again, which I agree with. So, like, they don't have to go super. They don't have to. What's the word? Break out the FBI for this, but they did conduct an independent investigation apparently over the past few weeks. Blah, 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 blah. Throughout this process, U.S. Soccer has learned about potential inappropriate behavior towards multiple members of our staff by individuals outside of our organization. What? Let's read this again. Through this process, U.S. Soccer has learned about potential inappropriate behavior towards multiple members of our staff by individuals outside of our organization. Are they not talking about Greg there?
No, they're either talking about
They're
the
talking-
Reina's harassing people with the information, like trying to
Yeah.
like get him canceled, or what they're saying is
Right?
Don Garber's over there flirting.
Yeah, they're talking about some of those people here. We take such behavior seriously and have expanded our investigation to include those allegations. We appreciate Greg and Rosalind coming forward to speak openly about the incident. He put out a tweet. She's put out a statement consistent with our commitment of transparency. We will share the results with the investigation publicly when it is complete. U.S. Soccer condemns violence of any kind and takes such allegations very seriously. Last month, U.S. Soccer launched a full technical review of our men's national team program. With the review and investigation ongoing, U.S. Soccer will announce who will lead the January men's national team camp in the coming days. It's already been announced. It's Coach Hudson. We look forward to the building of performance of Qatar and preparing for the journey towards 2026. And it doesn't seem like that's going to be with Greg Berhalter.
It probably won't, man. Like I think this does. You know what? Between his performance and just the whole kerfuffle of the thing, it's not worth re-signing him. And like that's the other thing too is I don't know if you can jettison Gio Reyna, but I also don't think I don't know. Gio seems to have been the most adult about everything in this situation.
Right, rather than the adults. That's what's also, I've read that in tweets. I was like, yeah, I gotta agree with that sentiment.
But I mean, like I said, I am not a person who rails against cancel culture. Like, no, like we very much people need visibility of things. Like there are people who are a piece of shit, and it's not necessarily about getting them fired. In my mind, it's like, oh, well, if I find out this person's a piece of shit, I'm not going to give them money. I'm not going to support their businesses just because, but then it becomes impossible because you use Amazon and that guy's a piece of shit.
Yep.
We're on YouTube right now. That guy,
Hey, we like Dr. Seuss stories and Bill
Yeah, I
Cosby
mean,
had a great comedy series and
we wear Adidas, like,
and-
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's tough.
And
You
we
can't
still
do
go
it for
to
everything.
De Beers to get the wife the diamonds, all right? And or something. I guess not everybody does, but
Nah, but nah.
chat saying I'm not against getting rid of Berhalter, but maybe investigate him in secret without going public. And I kind of feel like they did that for the most part. Like they investigated him for the past few weeks and they found enough information that they were like, all right, we're not gonna hire him. At
It's
least we know
crazy,
that
man.
much.
This has been wild.
It has been wild. Another thing that's been a little wild, and to me a little like, I don't know if I kind of thought it was a little gross, was like this weird journalist gatekeeping where they had this like they all knew. It was like they all knew, and they were all tweeting out to like stoke up some weird fire and flames. It was weird. And they're
Yeah,
like, wait
well,
till you
that's what
hear it's
journalism
gonna
has
hit the
become,
fan.
man.
And it just felt a little, I don't know, it just felt a little dirty when I was reading some of those tweets. I was like, this is like journalism. It's not, I'm not saying urine, I'm saying yearn as in yearning. This is like journalism. They're like yearning to make this more. And that's yellow journalism is exaggerated news telling. And this isn't exaggerated. Domestic violence happened here, but it happened 30 years ago with a man and a woman who are now husband and wife. Not that does add a little credibility to it, and people might want to say, they can't factor it. Guys, that does factor a little bit in the situation. Obviously, Greg Berhalter did enough growth for this woman and her family to grow and accept and love him. So
That's what it seems. We don't know that for a fact, but that's what it does.
We don't know that for a four kids fact, but let's say we know for four.
Fact,
but we could say 4 kids. We know.
It appears.
It appears.
Again, like I said,
like but they're also, like you said, and also, there could be issues, maybe subterranean issues that, every once in a while, then he drinks a little too much, that we better make sure that get Greg away from everybody. I heard he had a bit of a violent history as a player, putting his head through walls.
That's a little different. But
I think there's a lot of players who've done fists, heads through walls.
It is what it is. And like, this is a whole nother situation too, because it's not even like this woman, like it's not, I shouldn't say this woman. It's not like there was a woman that he did this to, they broke up, and then he was finally a better person to other people. It's very much like kind of like that's why we're slightly giving him the benefit of the doubt, is that she did come back to him.
She thought it was worse, and we got to trust her opinion. Or
well,
we got to give her some
to
some extent, right?
Just double check,
right?
Just
right,
double
right,
check.
right. And it seems like they did, and they found enough that they're like, we don't need. It was good having you as coach, but good luck.
Wow. So, like I said, it's not fun to talk about, but like I gotta say, man, does this affect Gio Reyna's? Does this affect Gio Reyna's career at all? Because his parents they kind of suck.
The next coach that comes in, everybody's gonna get a fresh start with the next coach. The next coach will make sure of that. If it's Jesse Marsch, especially
not with the national team, I'm saying, like, does Dortmund try and shop him, and people are like, no, we're good.
No, I think they still want him,
because he won't develop at Dortmund. Like, there is a ceiling to your development at Dortmund.
He's already scored. He's already back in form.
No, I know, but I'm saying there's a ceiling to your development. So if they can't sell you, you're eventually going to sit the bench unless you're Royce, because then they're going to try the next kid who's 19.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, you have to be able to get sold.
I don't think he's going to have a problem getting sold.
I hope not. Like, boy,
this will blow over. Something will happen. Reyna, Berhalter come out with maybe some sort of statement. I do expect this to blow. It's for the good of U.S. soccer. It needs to, because this truly has the ability to develop into something deep-seated and bad and schism-inducing for the U.S. soccer program as a whole. And right before the 2026 program, right before the 2026 World Cup, we do not need that. We need a United States team, not a Civil War divided we fall team. So so they got to figure that out.
Claudio Reyna is one of the closest things we do have to royalty for U.S. soccer players.
The original Captain America.
And I wonder if this is the first time I fell in love with soccer, like I played it when I was a little bit 94, right? The World Cup. but I was still too little to know anybody except for like Redhead, Kobe Jones, So like I wonder if this is how somebody older felt when they found out about like Ian Harkes or not Ian, oh my god, my bad. John Harkes and Eric Winalda. You know what I mean? Kind of like a guy I really like sucks.
Yeah, the guy I really like is capable of shitty, horrible decisions. And horrible in different context. I mean,
most certainly.
Right? Like there's those contexts that like where he's like, he's willing to go cheat, and then there's other people like OJ. So it's like it's a weird and wild world. But then there's other athletes out there.
Why use that as the example, man? He
But there's also
all the other
athletes
people
out
on
there that
planet
do
Earth who
great
have
things with their platform.
All the other people on this planet who have cheated the system, and he's the one you pick to complain about.
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying he's.
Anyway, dude, God, it's so nuts, man. That like, because Gio Reyna was like it's so incestuous. Like U.S. soccer, it's at this weird point where we wanted more ex-players involved before because all the decision makers were bean counters.
And now we're seeing on Twitter, it's like, oh, there's too much incestuousness relationships between these U.S. players and coaches. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about, guys?
Well, that's the problem. We only have one generation of people who have ever played and then thought they could do this.
Exactly.
So now it's just that whole generation. It doesn't matter who's good at it or not. It's not like
got like so many freaking people. Garrett, they got so many other different variations of the same Gareth Southgate. While we have like one or two.
Exactly. Coaches. So then they're all exactly, dude. That's just where we are in our development. It's just crazy. Oh my God.
I'm reading this. Not that this really affects this actually doesn't affect how I feel about Greg. This actually more affects how I feel about Ricardo Pepi, but maybe or both, maybe both. Ricardo Pepi, this is coming out now. Ricardo Pepi hung up on Greg Berhalter when Greg phoned him to tell him he was left out of the U.S. World Cup squad. With the under fire coach now being investigated by U.S. Soccer for kicking his wife in a drunken 1991 row. Thank you, Mail Online.
I mean, I feel you, but I'll say this. How many times after the end of an illustrious, amazing career are we watching something like The Last Dance? It's like, oh, Rodman was out partying and did this, or Jordan showed up and they said, hey, we gonna do this at practice. He said, fuck you, and didn't. You know what I mean? We're like, wow, what a badass.
And then so like if Ricardo win the championship.
Yeah, so like if Ricardo Pepi has a great career, it'll be like, yeah, he was awesome. He even just hung up on Berhalter when he didn't take him. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, come on.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It is more like a come on. Like I don't think they're trying to this is more trying to bury Berhalter, where this to me actually doesn't really reflect as horribly on Berhalter as it does on Ricardo Pepi.
I don't think it reflects poorly on either. Well, he's a kid who just hung up on the coach who told him his dream wasn't coming true. It happens.
Yeah, right. You can see it happen. You can understand it happen, and you can understand the growth that could potentially happen afterwards too.
And it's like sports is like the same thing is like you know who you're the worst person to? Mrs. Spitting Fire. You know why? Because she's around you the most, because she's the closest person to you. So not only does she see all the good that you put out towards everybody, she'll see the bullshit too.
She deals with the bad. She's there for the good days. She's there for the bad days.
Exactly. So that's how every single person is. So like in a sports situation, it's like being in a relationship with 24 other guys. You know what I mean? So like even with the coach, it's like, why'd you hang up on me last night? You know, you just get over it eventually. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not a big deal.
I mean, coach could have called him again another time too.
Oh yeah,
of course. But
I mean, why would he do that? Like, why poke the bear? Let the kid be mad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Let time heal. Let time do its thing.
I mean, think of it like a Stevie Nickel telling this story. Like, oh man, so he hung up on me. And so he showed up to training and started whooping ass. So I thought, you know what? He's got the fire, like.
Do you agree with chat's take here? Angus saying that this is not even a real sports story.
It's not. It's so little of a story. Guess where it came from?
It's barely a news story.
Yeah, Pepi just told the story on a podcast. That's it. You know, he told the story. Like, that's how little of a story it is. That's how much he didn't give a shit that it was going to be a thing.
All of
But
this. Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. All right. So we'll put a pin in that. And now let's get into